Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Covenant Live. I am here solo. Steven has been replaced with an empty chair. He's on vacation that he has earned, definitely earned. I, meanwhile, am back from GenCon. I got back on late Sunday and just can still feel the event in my bones. And not only is Steven not here, Jonathan's not here. Instead, I have John. John, can you pop your face in real quick? Sorry.
Yeah, how's it going, everybody? It's Backup John or John 2, John C.
I like Second John, personally.
Second
John has a nice ring to it.
All right.
Anyways, if anything looks weird or sounds weird, let us know. We're kind of flying, I don't know what we would call this crew. This is
This fast and loose skeleton crew style.
This is real skeleton. I feel dangerous. I feel like I'm going to say things on stream today that I shouldn't. You know what I mean? I'm in a certain kind of headspace. Anyway, hope you're all doing well. Here's the agenda for the day, and I want to get your opinion on it. So I have a bunch of stuff here from GenCon that I would like to talk about. One thing that was going on at GenCon that we absolutely will be talking about is this Dragonlord expansion. I'm finally going to open my copy of it, and I'm excited to see it. I've seen some cards and people talk about it, but with Sorcery especially, I just really try to go in not fully knowing what I'm going to get. I know loosely what's in here, but I'm excited just to open it and check out the cards and see how I feel, and then decide if I'm going to play Dragonlord or not when we go to Houston in a couple months. So that's a whole different thing. So I am going to unbox this. That is going to happen. Whether I do that first or last is up to you. Or I'm going to go through all my Gen Con stuff and tell some stories and hang out. Happy to answer questions. People in our Discord were talking about Echo of Omens this morning. I have the demo decks here. I've got thoughts for sure on that, among other things that are sitting here. So, chat, what do you think? You want to put up a poll?
Sure.
Basically, Dragonlord first or last is all I need to know.
Okay. Just a moment to make that.
What up? Totally Random Studios. Good to have you in the house. Steel's Lime saying, saw Riftbound advertised at Gen Con, having a chance to actually see it. That's one of those stories that, well, it's part of my Gen Con story, honestly. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. It's gonna be a very organic stream. I'll tell you that much. I have a loose idea of all the things I'm gonna talk about, but it's the kind of thing I was telling some of the team so this is the first Gen Con I've gone to solo. I was with a couple friends, but from Covenant, I was by myself. So I was giving kind of an overview recap to the team, or part of the team, earlier this week. And it's funny, the stories that come out once you start telling a story, things you wouldn't think to say. But I'll tell this little mini story while we're waiting on the poll results to come in. So Riftbound, right? It's called Riftbound. Is that right? Yeah, Riftbound was like the most advertised game at Gen Con this year. The giant banner going over the skywalk, Riftbound. Everywhere you look, Riftbound. It was really funny. At one point I was walking, I spent a lot of the time at the event with my good friend Matt Coles. We go way back. If you search Matt Coles, Zach Munn, Star Wars LCG, would have been, I think, 2013 2v2 World Championship. You'll find me and Matt competing together back then. Anywho, so we were walking and I said, see a giant thing over the skywalk. And if you've never been to Gen Con in Indianapolis, I really enjoy their downtown because they actually have a skywalk that goes to a lot of places you're going to want to end up being, so that technically you can get from place to place without ever having to go outside. Now, this particular Gen Con was awesome because the early part of the week was hot, but then by the con, there was overcast and it was like 70s. So you didn't need the skywalk as much this time, but I've been there when it's raining. I've been there when it's a little chilly. I've been there when it's hot. So it's very nice. But anyways, there's a Riftbound across the entire skywalk when you just can't not see it. And I was like, hey man, what is Riftbound? Do you know, like, I know it's a card game, but what is it? And he was like, thank goodness. It's like, I thought I was the only person here that didn't know what Riftbound was. And so anyways, then we both worked up the courage to ask someone at some point that knew. It's a League of Legends card game.
Oh.
I know what League of Legends is. loosely. Don't quiz me on that. But I've at least heard of it. Whereas Riftbound, I hadn't. I didn't get a chance to play Riftbound. I have a handful of friends that did. And the comments I got consistently on that game were it was heavier and more complicated than they expected out of a game that seems like it would try to be mass market appeal. I didn't try it, so I can't really speak to that. All right, how's the poll doing? Hit me with it.
All right, let's see. We're going to close it out. It looks like first has won by just a smidge. So
Dragonlord first.
Dragonlord
All right,
time.
let me clear everything else out. We'll start with Dragonlord, and then where the rest of this goes is anybody's guess, to be honest. All right, let me get rid of this for now. Just put this.
I don't know how many of these cards we actually have processed into our system fully yet. So
about to find out, aren't we?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, I bought one.
What was your foil?
I think I got a foil of the Water Dragon.
Okay, how do we feel about it?
It convinced me to play a mono water deck.
Yeah, well, I feel like the Water Dragon, like just according to Steven, is very good.
Yeah.
And his ability to judge cards is questionable. It's got water on it, so he's biased.
Well, even accounting for the water, water poisoning, I don't know.
The water poisoning? That is hilarious. All right, first of all, I just took the sleeve off of this. This is a really nice box. It's like it's not simple cardboard, It's got like magnets on it. That is just extremely next level. So I
give you a top down.
Yeah. I flew in to GenCon. It looks a little fuzzy. Like this looks like it's in focus, but this.
Yeah, let me see here.
This doesn't. So I flew into GenCon, or I guess Indianapolis, late on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, I play tested Sorcery for the big Crossroads tournament, which we'll come back to in a minute, and then that evening. I went to one of the things I did was went to a gathering of Sorcery people. Ed Beard was there. I didn't really get a chance to talk to Ed, but I did get a chance to talk to Doug, which is another Sorcery artist, and he was amazing. But it seemed like Ed was having a great time this whole weekend. Every time I saw Ed at that, or like he was at the booth signing all weekend, he just had a giant smile on his face. Clapping Cardboard saying, made it a knife or nail clippers to open those cards. The wrapping is tight. Ooh. On the back says Ed Beard Jr.'s Dragonlord. Scan to find out more. I'm not going to scan, but you could. I don't know. Is that kind of blurry for you guys? I think it is.
Is that still a little bit blurry?
Yeah, if you look, this is very in focus, which I can move if it's causing.
Yeah, let's see.
Are you doing autofocus?
I'm doing an autofocus, but let's see here.
Let's get this Dragonlord right here and see if we can get that thing in focus.
Try autofocus and it'll start
Right here.
Is that?
This still looks blurry. Gudnack's very in focus. Let me remove all the things that are higher than that could cause you issues. All right, try now. Let's see if we can get my hand. Ooh, it's getting worse. It's like the eye doctor, better, worse, better, worse.
Well, I can't see what I'm actually. I can't see.
Hey, you want me to do it?
You have to do it.
Am I twisting this way?
You twist the ring until it.
Wait, I think I twisted the wrong ring. There it is.
Okay.
That looks better. How's this feel? I mean, the camera's wobbling. That's my. Or is the camera? Yeah, it is the camera wobbling. We'll come back to that.
We're going fast and loose today.
That's right. All right, let's see if I can get it open with my GenCon badge. One improvement, I don't know how long GenCon's been doing this, but they mailed me the badge, so that was better. A lot of times you'd have to wait in this long line to get it. The other thing is for a lot of the events, they have digital tickets, so they just scanned your badge. Instead of forever, they would print physical tickets you had to show up to the event with. So, anyways, that was better. But let's see if we can open this without damaging my cards. Whew, this is risky business, How'd you open yours, John?
I think I used a box cutter and was extremely careful.
That doesn't sound like something I would do. All right. You want to go see if you can find like scissors or box cutter
Yeah, I'll be right back.
I'm getting nervous about this. I don't. These are precious. I don't want to destroy them on stream. Steel's Lime saying I hadn't heard of Riftbound before GenCon either. Discovered the box nicely holds 120 sleep cards. You talking about this? Like, it holds 2 decks of cards basically. That's cool. Soundy saying box cutter on the back of the card. Milkbread saying I'm so unbelievably mad that I didn't get a Dragonlord box during the pre-release stream. Man, I didn't know it was going to be event exclusive otherwise. Yeah, it's a bummer. It seems like, I mean, I could get on a soapbox here, and I might. We might have time while I'm waiting to see if we can get a box cutter. Steel's I'm saying you should have done story time first. Hey, I'm just going with the democratic selection.
I couldn't find scissors.
The box cutter works.
Moment of truth.
Yeah. I can be trusted with this. And then I just slice my finger open. All right, look. Did it. I think. I definitely get the disappointment, though. Like, if you... For a game that is coming out once a year, if you can't get the one... Like, one of the things that's coming out, that's just a bummer. And, you know, they had Dragonlord at GenCon essentially the whole time. I think they sold out on Sunday, technically. And seemingly they're going to be having it available at future events. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough situation. On the one hand, it's really nice that, like, the fact that we sold out so quickly surprised us. And there's clearly interest in Sorcery. I don't think the intent from Eric's Curioso was to have people selling it for $300 or $400 online, and that would be there so quickly. But it did create a lot of energy and excitement at the event, right? So part of this, I played in the first Crossroads on Saturday, and it was a 128-person sold-out event. And every time I was going through the hall and I passed by the Eric's Curioso booth, there was a big line to get the Dragonlord, and then also to get signatures from Ed Beer Jr. And so excitement and hype is useful, but I've heard from a lot of people that are having trouble getting it, which would definitely be a bummer. I can understand that. Terrence saying, hello, gents. So Sorcery is dropping more drip. So they put out this Dragonlord box. It's like a mini set. It is not a full set. And it's the set of dragon cards that I'm about to go through for the first time. And we did a pre-order for it a handful of weeks ago, and sold out in like a couple hours of all of our inventory, which is crazy. All right, here we go. Dragonlord. Can you pull Dragonlord out? Let's see if we got the system. There he is. So 20 health, 1 attack, normal. Tap, player draw sight, also normal. Oh, the byline is your avatar commands respect and fear. It says before setup, set aside a unique dragon. Once on your turn, if you meet its threshold, you may pay 3 resources to gain its abilities for the turn. So choose a dragon, set it aside. If you have the threshold, you pay 3 and you get the ability. I'm assuming most decks will be built to grab the same one every time. It makes you want to toolbox it, where you could have like 3 or 4 different dragons you might pick. But I think it's going to be hard to consistently get the threshold needed, unless these dragons are like low threshold, which I don't get the sense that they are. Based on, I think I saw the water dragon or something. It's like 4 threshold water, which we'll get to in a second. So I'm going to keep him around because we're going to talk about the rest of this stuff. All right, next, Dragonlord's Lair. My God, the art on this is unreal. Oh, this is crazy. I can't believe this game exists. So look, you got the like fire part of the castle on the left and the ice on the right, earth in the middle. Is that air? I think it's air on the left, earth kind of on the right. This is wild. I kind of hope this is my... So there's 1 foil in each of these boxes, right? That's what it says. Let me just verify. 13 game cards and 1 premium foil card. As far as I know, one of the cards in the box you also get as a foil. I haven't seen all the cards, but I feel like this card in foil with the full art back would be...
That'd be a premium.
Good. I don't even know what the card does yet. So, let's read it. Dragons cast to this site require no threshold and cost 1 less resource. So no threshold, but it's unique, and 1 less resource. So yeah, if you have a lot of dragons, that'd be really good. Just minus. Well, it's not. Tell me this. It doesn't have any threshold on it, but I'm pretty sure every site provides a resource regardless of whether it has a threshold on it. I remember asking that on stream, and Steven couldn't believe I didn't know the answer to that, which is fair. Ooh. Cal Estes.
What is that? A K or C?
C. C-A-E-L. Calestis.
Oh, there you go. Looks like
C-A-E-L. Okay. There it is. So 7 cost, 1 threshold of each element type, 5 power, the unique essence of a dragon spirit, airborne and void walk, 2 very good keywords. Then tap, the next dragon you cast to this location costs 0 this turn. So this seems crazy. A 5 with airborne and void walk, but 1 of each threshold and 7 cost. That is a lot. Although, Q Dragonlord. Before setup, set aside a unique dragon. You can basically pay 3 and get this ability. So if you were playing like, Camelot and the multi-threshold sites and you're playing all the 2, like Step, etc., you could get to 1 of each pretty easily. And so he could gain, let's see, its abilities. I'm pretty sure keywords count as abilities now. So he can pay 3, but he taps. No.
But your avatar for the turn would get Void Walk and Airborne.
And also tap
ability.
The next dragon. That's what you do. That's what this card's for. So, I feel like by the time you could actually display this at 7, a free dragon is not that good because you could just play the dragon instead. But if you're paying 3 as the Dragonlord and playing a 7 cost for 3, now we're in business.
Yeah.
Now we're in business. Okay, cool. I'm trying not to knock it so that I see my foil.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right, next we have the Xeraphine Conroll, which looks like the Phoenix Dragon.
And that is
XERA.
XER. Thank you.
They do this. They hurt me all the time. So it's 7 cost, 2 fire, 2 water. So they did this in Arthurian Legends with Sir Mordred, who I love. Jussie, the artist. I love that art style, and the ability on Mordred is like my kind of card. And so and this is a Phoenix, which I'm inclined to, given our company. Anywho, let me just read it. It's another 7 cost, 5 power. Airborne, a unique beast kindles the life of dragons. At the end of your turn, you may choose 3 of your dead minions, banish 2 to return the remaining 1 to your hand. Okay, this is interesting. Especially, you have to keep filtering this through your Dragonlord could pay 3 to get this ability. And then by the time you're at 5, 6 resources, just getting a card back every turn for essentially no, you're banishing stuff, cost. That could be really good. Archimago is essentially banish 2 magic spells to play the 3rd, and it gets banished. But this actually gets the card back. So then you can play it again, and then it can go to the discard pile again, and you can do that kind of thing, which is a nice recurring Phoenix vibe reality. Also, this art is just insane.
Also, it's a beast, so you're running dragons, so you're already going to run fire breathing probably, and that's another unit that can cast a fire breathing.
That's a good point, because they're not all beasts. This is a beast, specifically. Like the Calestis is not a beast. I didn't realize that was a thing to call it. It's good. Next we have Draco Corvus.
Draco Corvus. There we go.
Yeah. Airborne, stealth, tap, teleport to target tapped minion to burrow it. So you tap, teleport to a tapped minion. The tapped minion gets burrowed. That's pretty good. It's a movement and a removal all at once, especially presumably if you're targeting one of their things. Not so good if you're facing water though, because there's no burrowing there, but still seems pretty good. Next we have the Moonsong Talagellum. This art is so perfectly old school. It's a wolf dragon. I just saw the little wolf there. I love it. Yeah. 1 air, 2 earth, 3 cost, 3 power. This is entering super playable territory. The 7 costs are, once you get past 5, it's crazy. But this is in that territory. So a unique dragon raised by wolves. I adore that. This dragon is howling at the moon. That is too good. Airborne counts as gray wolves and has +1 power for each other gray wolves nearby.
And you can make your avatar also give.
Yeah, this is perfect. This is my favorite card so far. This is in this pack. This is easily my favorite card so far. That's cool. A wolf dragon deck is speaking my language. All right, next we have Talum Dreg. It's the Earth Dragon. 7 cost, 3 Earth threshold, 6 power. The realm's strength lies in this unique dragon. Can't be moved by force. Has +1 power for each adjacent site. So he's going to be beefy. And the can't be moved by force. This is classic sorcery. I love this. And this Earth Dragon looks sick. But we all know what that means. That rules text. And you would just have to spell it out in most other games. This is great. 7 cost, 3 threshold is difficult, but
you can't bury, drown, or earthquake him. And
he's going to be like a 15 strength. Like if he's in the middle of the board and he's surrounded by sites, each adjacent site, so he could technically be +4, or does the site you're on count as adjacent? I think it does. I think the literal plus sign is the adjacency. So he could be +5. He could be an 11 power dragon. And the other piece of this is, if you use this with your Dragonlord ability, the Dragonlord kind of becomes Avatar of Earth, except for without the Earth requirement. Like, Avatar of Earth is +1 for each nearby Earth site, so it can technically be a lot of extra. But this is just +1 for each adjacent site, which seems way easier to activate. Frogamago saying, "Hey, Zach, it was good to meet you, GenCon." You too. Appreciate the card. That was very nice. Site you're on counts as adjacent. Yeah, that's sick. All right. I'm waiting for the Fire Dragon. I know he's in here. Shrine of the Dragonlord. This is cool. Genesis teleport all dragons here. A unique monument springs primordial powers. Site provides 1 additional resource and 1 threshold of each kind. Okay. That's interesting. This is the core of this pack. Even just pay 2, 1 of each threshold, 1 resource. That's essentially, you're paying 1 for a core to give you 1 threshold, 1 resource. And, Genesis teleport all dragons here, whether or not that's good or bad, or I don't know. But would it count? Does the Dragonlord count as a dragon?
I think he counts as an avatar, doesn't he?
I know, but is he a dragon? You know what I mean?
No.
Like when you play this, does he teleport there? Because that's interesting.
We'll have to get Justin.
Yeah, we need a rules expert here. Steven's gone.
We need some of the judges.
All right, Kairos the Archivist. I've heard rumor of this guy. I've seen this art too. Look at those wings. Kairos.
Okay.
Look at the wings. One's like mechanical looking. A unique dragon automaton turns back time. Genesis. Archive the state of the realm. Deathrite. Return all archive cards to their recorded state, then banish Kairos. I'm assuming you basically everything on the board is removed when he's played, and that's archived. Is that what this means?
I don't know. I interpret it to mean like you take a snapshot of the board state, and then when he leaves play, you literally go back to that photo and put the board back the way it was.
Oh, like the board stays. Take a picture. Whenever
That's
he
how
dies,
I interpreted it.
you go back.
I could be wrong.
Can someone explain this to me? Well, I'm going to put him on the side because we need to come back to that. That's obviously not a dragon you're going to want to use with Dragonlord's ability because it wouldn't do anything. All right, Cradle of Ethereum. A unique relic and hope of an ancient race. Anytime during your turn, you may look at your next spell. You may cast dragons from the top of your spellbook here for 1 less. So, pseudo card draw, because if you see a dragon on the top, you get the dragon without having to draw it, and -1 resource. I think this is the kind of card that I don't know how long it's going to take us for you to have a deck that's like 70% chance to hit a dragon. I guess you could also play water with all their like look at the top card, put 1 under. And suddenly now you have a way. I mean, it's unique, so you can't bank on it, but now you have a way to really leverage that peeking at the top card, play the dragon or not.
It might even make it worth it to play more cards like Shapeshift and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like any time you want to know what you're like, I can see this being included even in non-dragon decks for that scry.
Listen to this. Can you pull Kairos back up? Joseph Bozarth saying, this card literally had 14 FAQ entries before he even came out. You have to call a judge over before you resolve him in a tournament. That's a Sorcery classic right there. Yeah, that's amazing, honestly. Here we go. Can you pull up Adtonitum? I don't know how to say that. It's the lightning dragon. 7 cost, 6 power. Unique dragon leaves thunder in its wake. Airborne movement +1. Airborne with movement +1, that can get around. Whenever she stops, she may deal 3 damage to another random unit here. So basically a lightning bolt on a stick. Can move diagonally. That's pretty good. That's also a really good closer. You get to the end of the game. I wish it had charge. That would be thematic because of the lightning, the word charge. But then if you could just play this and immediately zip off, or even if it could move on its first thing so that you get that lightning bolt effect immediately. But when you play it, they better do something because you're just going to wreak havoc.
That's a hell of an ability for your avatar to get on turn 3.
Yes.
Annoying bridge,
or
doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's airborne's nice. Movement +1's crazy, and then just the constant like if you end up on a site with my avatar, your lightning bolt fodder.
Yeah,
crazy. And whenever she stops, so technically, if you have any way of readying her or moving, you're getting multiple lightning bolts. So I'm gonna keep my eyes on that one. All right, next we have Ignis Rex. At long last we've arrived. 7 cost, 3 with fire threshold, 6 power. Unique dragon of purifying flame. Airborne, immune to fire damage. Once on your turn, discard a fire card, deal 3 damage to units at target adjacent location. That's pretty good. 3 to all units at a location for a card. Again, 7 cost, terrifying. But again, you pay 3, give this to your Dragonlord. All of a sudden, discard a card at adjacent location. Everything takes 3. That's. I keep evaluating the card simply as the card, but every time I then think about the Dragonlord paying 3 to get the ability, and then airborne and immune to fire damage, that's pretty good.
Well, there comes a point in the game where Vile Imps won't remove everything, but if you can turn Vile Imps into a minor explosion,
or if you can play Vile Imp and then also a minor explosion, now you hit for 5.
Yeah,
you get it. All right, next we get it looks like a T Vadin Draconis. This is the water dragon. Same template, 7 cost, 3 threshold, 6 power. Unique dragon of worldly deluge. Submerge. At the end of your turn, you may submerge all minions and artifacts here.
This was the one this is my foil.
Does here only count the layer you're on, basically? Because like if this is submerged, would here include everything on that site above that site, or would here just be everything?
I think here is only like the surface. It's only the layer that you're on.
What up, Obsidian? Saying, yo, look at this guy in the jersey. So this is a story here. I never, ever in 100 years would have bought this. But my good friend Tim,
just
here's location. That's great.
The site.
My good friend Tim over at Chaotic Great, who make Gudnak, showed up and had a gift for me, which was this jersey. And he had one on. He was just being a tourist in Indiana. And I'm so happy and appreciative that he bought this because I never would have bought it, but I absolutely love that I own it. It's like Just an incredible. It was amazing. Very very kind thing for him to do. Yeah, this is a water card. I'm just gonna put it in the blue pile, and move on. Oh, I see my foil. Wouldn't you know it? This is crazy. It's the location.
Did you call it?
I did. Dragonlord's Lair. Look at this thing. It's just there. It is.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy? I can't believe that I did that. 5 out of 5 stars. Would recommend opening the card and foil that you wanted to get. This is crazy. I was right. This looks amazing.
That's really cool.
Yeah, man. Look at that thing. Come on.
I think when Evan was here, he opened up the Dragonlord foil.
The avatar.
He's collecting all the foil avatars too.
Well, that seems
So
very,
that
very
was
lucky
very
of
convenient
him.
for him.
This is awesome. Ed Beard, if you're out there listening, 2 thumbs way up. This is incredible art. Getting a set of dragons like this, all from Ed Beard. It's the kind of thing that is crazy that Eric Scuriosa made it. And I'm so glad that they did. I'm so glad. So kind of breaking it down, we have a location, we have 2 artifacts, obviously the avatar. We have a neutral, no element dragon. We have a 3 threshold dragon of each element. And then you've basically got the 2 threshold from the opposite sides of the wheel. So air, earth, fire, water, which is cool. And then you have Calestus, which is the 1 of each. And then you get a foil. That's a really nice, tidy set. I think just kind of looking over it, biggest highlights for me, other than opening the foil location that I was gushing about, the Wolf Dragon peak.
Yeah.
And that's the outlier, honestly, because it's 1 threshold air, 2 earth, wolf themed. Like everything else, like there's this set of 4, right? And this makes sense on the threshold front, etc. But this is probably my favorite card in the set, just generally. And part of it was because I had no expectation. It's Moonsong. I had no expectation that it even existed. And I adore this card. The idea of a dragon being raised by wolves, also beautiful. That is beautiful. I'd be curious, everyone out there watching right now, if you play Sorcery, or not, if you just looked at all these cards, what was your favorite card in this set? And for people that play Sorcery, what card do you think is going to have the most impact on the game? I would be curious to hear your predictions before I exit the Dragonlord piece of this conversation. Kairos is an artifact. Is he? Kairos is he? Is it because he's an automaton?
Oh, yeah.
So he's a minion and an artifact? Huh. So we have 3 artifacts. And then a wolf dragon. Out of nowhere. My God, I love this card. The wolf dragon is where the money's at. I'm going to build a wolf deck. It's happening. May as well ship it.
I love that.
Is it going to be good? Probably not. Is it going to be a good time? Absolutely. Yeah, Joseph's saying automaton is artifact minion. It's cool that if this truly does fit 2 decks in it, that's pretty sweet. Like you can basically get 2
nice
things side by side. It looks like there'd be actually a little extra room in there for something. What could we put there? It's not big enough for a die, which is what I was thinking.
Like somebody had said that they were able to easily fit 120 sleeve cards.
Yeah, 2 kind of full. I guess a sorcery deck now. What are we at? It's 30 for the site deck, and
I think, are we still on 50-30 or now we have 60-30?
I should know, and I don't.
The same.
Charisma is saying Wolf card is very dope. Staria is saying Ethereum, thing autocorrect. Collab and Cardboard agreed with Shrine being the most relevant. Keep Shrine up.
Yeah.
Frank saying Wolf Dragon is definitely my favorite. Yeah, I mean this makes sense because it's really just a core that gives you all the it costs 2, but it doesn't really matter in those early stages of the game. That gives you all the threshold, which if you're gonna play the cores, you may as well play this. And it doesn't stomp around with your dragon. So I played Battle Mage in the Crossroads event this weekend, and two things are really a bummer. First is like Dispel. What's the other card? Disenchant. When you have a avatar that's running a lot of items, so the fact that this is a monument on a location and it's not at the same site as everything else necessarily, I think is really helpful. But yeah, I could definitely see that being a card people use. Yeah, Joseph's saying if you turn 1, play an air tower, so like Dark Tower, go to 2 resources, play Shrine on the site. Now you're kind of cooking. Like you've got all the threshold and you're off to the races. Mike saying 90 card total, 50 card deck, 30 card site deck, 10 card weird inventory thing. What are they didn't call it the sideboard collection. Yeah. So I think that's cool mechanically. Like when it references grab a card from your collection and you're playing casually, it's your actual collection. In a tournament, it's the 10. It's like a sideboard, 10 card sideboard. Yeah. People agreeing the Shrine, etc. How do we feel about Dragonlord? Is the Dragonlord going to be good? Having played in the Crossroads, my standard on what good looks like has gone up. Yeah. If that makes sense. When I read Dragonlord, I don't know if that is the level that he's at. I would love it to be true, and I will try.
Yeah. I don't know if Dragonlord is good or not, but I know I'm going to be playing him.
Yeah. Yeah. Spoken like a sorcery player.
Yeah.
That is a perfect answer. Well, other sorcery things while we're here. First one is, I didn't even know we were getting this. Look at this. It's a promo lone tower for playing in the... Can you top down me?
Yes.
It's a foil lone tower. It looks great. The art is by Atlas Thorin. Look at this. They just walked by in round 1 and handed it out, and I was like, oh, okay.
That looks great.
Yeah, super good. Very awesome. It's also really cool to see so much excitement around sorcery. I mean, 128-person sold out event is no small task, and then just seeing that line every time you go by the booth was really cool. Also, I got these. I'm not supposed to show them, so I'm not going to fully. But there's just these little metal tracker things. I don't know. So whoever gave them to me was like, "Hey, keep it on the hush hush." So it's kind of don't tell anybody. I could just keep it between us. You know what I mean? All right. Any other sorcery related questions? I have a smattering of items here I just want to chat about in my experience. But sorcery was great. It was a great time. The tournament was great. I didn't do very well, but I had fun. I got to play against Pete, who I'm a big fan of. Just a delightful human. And yeah, I had fun. Battle Mage is a fun deck. I did testing after our last stream before the event, and I felt like it got a lot better, but I still got smashed. So who knows? But now we know. I think Druid did really well at the event, and there was some different kind of combo Battle Mages. I also felt like there were players. I'm used to being one of the players I'm about to describe, which is there are players that really understand what's going on, and then there's the rest of us. So there are players there where it's like, you guys are on something different and you know what the good decks are and have played against them and talked with probably the good players. And so we'll see. Steve and I are going to Houston, which is the next Crossroads, I think. And that's in October. We'll see if we can escalate or elevate our gameplay by then. But either way, having a good time. And the vibe that was the thing I was probably most curious about the sorcery tournament was, can you have a big sorcery event that doesn't cross the line into sweaty and too aggressive? And all of my opponents were lovely. So can't speak for the entire tournament, but I had a great time. The game was great. The vibe was great. I don't think I called a judge once, which is amazing because when we were playtesting, I had a rules question essentially every time we played. Like some obscure rules question. Clam Cardboard, did you end up playing Battle Mage? I did. And I had a lot of fun. My first round was against a Wayshaper. And it was, I felt like in that game, let me get my notes out, because I'll tell you exactly what happened. In that game, sometimes, things just go your way. And with Battle Mage, that can be very true. And I felt like Jeremy from Massachusetts playing Wave Shaper. My game everything went my way. So I won that game. My round 2 I played against Peter, and he was on Druid, and there's probably a way that game could have gone well for me, but Pete was on a different level than me, and I could tell pretty quickly. He was just playing on a different level, and so Pete, it was close. I mean, we were both. It's kind of close. I got him Death's Door, but with no hope of actually winning. I had a Mask of Mayhem out, and he had his bear pick it up and smack me for it was. What's the name of the bear? What's the bear? What's the druid's bear? Bjorn? Bruin. Yeah, there it is. Druid's crazy, man. Like, getting to flip and have that ability, and any nearby movement takes a damage, and then the bear it's like a royal bodyguard for free. So early I was heavily testing with a good friend Roger, and very early on he was on Druid, and we were playing, and it felt like that was the most unfair deck I played against. Was his Druid deck, which he ended up on Druid. Even more unfair than Archimego. And when I say unfair, like in a competitive sense, that just you're trying to do the most unfair thing you can. And Druid was routinely doing things that I felt like I didn't have a way to match the value of. That's what I mean by unfair, to elaborate on that. So anyways, Pete also played it exceptionally well. It was tight, and he made some unintuitive decisions based on the cards in my hand that were just perfect. And it was like, I feel like you know what you're doing. You knew what to expect.
Yeah.
Then my next round was against a Sorcerer, Jay, and he was playing, what were his elements? He just annihilated me. I don't know that I've lost a game of Sorcery harder than to this guy.
Oh, wow.
And after we got done, he was really nice the whole time. But he was essentially, he said something along the lines after it was over of like, I don't think you could have had a worse matchup than me in this tournament, just based on what he was doing, and having amazing amounts of like artifact removal and like all my items and the whole 9 yards of what was going on. So it was not even close. So it was 7-round tournament. You had to go 6-1 to make top 8. There wasn't a top 8 cut, but top 8 got the foil avatars of their avatar with the tournament stuff on it. And I was 1-2 after 3 rounds. And that game finished. I mean, I lost 20-0 in that game. It was so bad.
Wow.
As Battle Mage, 0 damage. Crazy. I remember it was he played a Pudge Butcher, so then I get out of the way. Then he plays an Atlas Wonders to get me back in the way, and Pudge Butchers me in. And then Atlas Wonders me. And I literally didn't have a way to get away from the Pudge Butcher or deal with the Pudge Butcher. Like there was nothing to do about it. So I just got sucked into the vacuum that is Pudge Butcher Atlas Wonders and could not do anything or escape. So I lost very quickly. But as I was standing up from that round, there was a lunch break after round 3. So let's say it's an hour round, I finish in 15 minutes. I got 45 minutes plus the hour lunch break. And now I'm thinking like, am I going to drop? Am I going to keep playing? And GenCon, there was a funny short that got posted while I was at GenCon, ironically, about how much I don't like playing events at GenCon. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but a few of them are, it's not the best tournament environment in general, but secondarily, there's a lot of stuff going on at GenCon that you could be doing outside of playing in a tournament. So I finish my round, I stand up, and as I stand up, I get a text message from one of my favorite people on earth, Andrew Navarro. And he's the owner, founder of Earthborn Studios, or Earthborn Games. I got it wrong. Can't get that wrong. Earthborn Games, not Studios. But I literally stood up and I got a text from Andrew on my watch. He's like, "Hey, what are you up to?" And I was like, "You want to go to lunch?" And so we went and had lunch, and I did not return to the tournament. I had a great time hanging out with Andrew. And then actually after that, I met Andrew Fisher, who's another person, key person at Earthborn Games, for the first time in person. I've engaged with him digitally quite a bit, but took that opportunity. And that's kind of the vibe of GenCon. Like, it is as a I guess that's the vibe of Gen Con to me as a someone that has a business in the industry or that's in the industry. It is a pseudo. I don't know what it would be like to just be a player. I guess technically the first Gen Con Steve and I went to, 2007, the year Covenant started. Steve and I went to Gen Con, but we mostly just went as players. Like there really wasn't business happening. Business. We just played spoils the whole time in the tournament hall. Like 4 days of, if we're not asleep in the hotel room, we were in the tournament hall playing in the tournament.
Wow.
Just soaking it in. After that, though, we didn't go in 2008, and then we went 2009 all the way through 2020 when the pandemic hit. Every year, and every year it was bring the cameras, do as much, tons of. I mean, Gen Con was it was like our Super Bowl, honestly, for content every year. It was crazy. And then on top of that, a lot of times at Gen Cons, I would be having a lot of meetings. So this is the opportunity to meet people face to face or network or do this kind of thing. And so Gen Con for me this year was mostly that part of the role, without the need to be dealing with content or to be in content. A lot of times the content, like if you go look at a Gen Con content, it's Steven on camera with Jonathan behind the camera and someone else with Steven, like Andrew from, at the time, FFG, or, you know, the designer or whatever it is. So anywho, that's for me, at least, that's part of what makes it tough. Like at this point, and there's just so many people. Like I had lunch with an old friend of mine, Evan Johnson, who was a marketing manager at FFG for a long time and no longer is even in the industry. But you just see so many different people, and there's so many different people there that you know from. You know, I ran into Jonathan Benton, who was an old Thrones player from a decade ago, and we chatted for a little bit in the hall. And so you just have so much going on. So once I got skunked and had a long break ahead of me, and then I was enjoying my lunch with Andrew, that was kind of the nail in the coffin for my sorcery experience on the weekend. But I had a blast. And like when we go to Houston, the reason I'm going to Houston is to play in sorcery tournaments. So in that kind of scenario, I'm probably, I could lose the first 5 rounds and just be ride or die on the tournament, because this is why I'm here, is to do this thing. But yeah, it was awesome to see a sold out event happening. The event ran really well. The registration line didn't take very long, and I have no complaints. Had a good time. We got any chats that are worth bringing up?
Let's see. Clapboard has.
Were there any games you wanted to play / try that you weren't able to? I don't think so. If the lines weren't crazy, I probably would have tried Riftbound. There's also the Upper Deck something of Icar, which I don't know. That's got a weird thing going on because they had the pseudo lawsuit with Lorcana and Disney and the designer and stuff. And Upper Deck is just Upper Deck, like. Nothing against them or the games they produced, but they're just a giant company, and so that's typically not what gets me excited. But I will tell you what does get me excited. I'm just going to branch into crazy stories here. Happy to answer sorcery questions or thoughts, etc. But this is just a perfect segue. So one of my first stops on Thursday was actually by Luke Crane's booth to get this Interceptor role-playing game for Steven. Steven asked if I would get this for him. And I was actually, at the time, that morning, I had breakfast / coffee with an old friend of mine named Sasha, who was a Fab player extraordinaire. Beat me in the penultimate round of the first Pro Tour for Fab, ending my hopes and dreams of making the Pro Tour cut. But met with him that morning, and he's been cooking on a game called Thrive for a long time. I played a very early prototype for that. Love that game. This mat is actually our old logo in that style that he printed and brought to me, which was really nice of him to do. But we had coffee and caught up, and then he was hanging out with me, so I was walking around the hall that morning and went here to get it. And so he had never met Luke, and you know, I introduced them, but then I didn't really know what this was, and Luke gave me the pitch, essentially the TLDR of what this is. And it's just fascinating when you have an artist doing art in some way and being so passionate about it and talking about it. This is essentially like an RPG designed for each session to take an hour or less, 1 to 3 people. and you're role playing as kind of a highway patrolman or woman in the middle of the beginning of the apocalypse. So it's almost like the road to becoming. It's like you're in the pre-Mad Max theme before Mad Max occurs, and you're basically playing this role, and it's you dealing with the psychological reality of what's happening and how long you're going to do it, and the world's crumbling and all this crazy stuff.
I didn't know I wanted that.
Yeah.
Until just now. I didn't know it existed until
well,
now.
This is literally like a prototype. He only had 25 copies of this at GenCon.
Oh, cool.
But he was describing it as like, yeah, that I can't. You can just tell. Like I've talked to enough people about their ideas or the games or what they're making, and there is an X factor that is hard to explain. But when someone has an idea, and it just bleeds out of them, and there's no choice but for them to create this thing, even if they don't know how to make it a product or if it's going to be a commercial success or any of this stuff. It's just a thing that has to exist, and so they did it, and they are almost forced to do it. So when you get that feeling that someone is sharing that with you, it's so rewarding to engage with them on that and to experience that thing that they've created, as compared to a giant corporation that is making a product because they know it's a product that will do well, etc. Get it? There's nothing. I have no. I'm not like
a spreadsheet versus game design by a person.
Yeah, well, I think one way of putting it would be: are you designing a game or are you designing a product?
Yeah.
And I think it's important for both to be true, but it's which one's the priority. And I tend to prefer games where the priority is the game, and then the product comes later or however it has to come. But anyways, that was cool. Another thing that I did was caught up with Christian Peterson, the team at Ghost Galaxy, who have been doing Keyforge. But they actually revealed at this event, or right before this event, a game called Echo of Omens, which was a topic of conversation on our Discord channel. Can you top down me? You can see his logos. So I basically have a Overlord deck and I don't know what it's called exactly, maybe a hero. And this is all, as far as I know, placeholder art, maybe even like AI art. So, but it says on there placeholder art. Yeah, I definitely have thoughts. Let me show you this. We might end up playing this on stream at some point. But basically, the coolest part of this game to me is this is, I think, called the action bar or something like that. Tactics bar. Somewhere in there. But under this, there's 3 pips. So basically, on your turn, when you're activating this, you choose a place to start, and then going left to right, you activate baubles equal to the number of pips that you have. So if you start on this far left, you do these first 3 things, which in this case, I'll start with the second one, is draw a card, and the little yellow sunburst is gain a resource. So if you choose to start here, you would draw a card, gain a resource, gain a resource. And then that's his activation. So that is a really clever mechanic, because essentially he's doing one of, I guess, 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 4 options of sets of 3 that he could do in that way, which is, I've never quite seen that in a game. No, that was pretty clever. So other things about it are like, it is asymmetric. You have the Overlord versus the good guys, and they operate it's in the same way, not exact same. It's somewhat like Netrunner in that way, where both players can take an action to draw a card, both players can take an action to gain a credit, but then the runner can run, and the corporation can install ice, and the corporation can res assets and that kind of thing. And different but similar win conditions. There's definitely some things that remind me of Netrunner, but only vaguely. It's like dark fantasy setting. And then the other piece of this is, I just lost it. There was some hanging thought there. Oh, it actually reminds me a little bit of the Conquest LCG, which is one of the greatest card games of all time, and a crying shame that game went away. Where the Overlord's board kind of expands one location a turn, and there are locations that you can be at and be fighting at. It's different in that Conquest had this sort of inevitable collapsing. Every turn, one of the locations is definitely going away in Conquest. And then the other thing that I thought was cool to hear them, it makes sense that they would do this. the intent, so from what I heard when I was getting the demo, is these would release like Keyforge. So you have a deck, it's a unique deck, and you buy a pack, and instead of like a booster pack, it's a fully built, ready to play deck. The difference is that in Keyforge, which was labeled a unique deck game, that's how the decks were played. You bought a deck that it is what it is. So what that inevitably means is you buy a deck, if you play it and it's not your favorite deck or it's not the best deck that you have, it goes in your collection and maybe you don't ever see it again. So you couldn't do anything with the decks either. So new cards come out and they don't mix with old cards. So then also if you have a set of cards that is just inherently a little bit better, then a whole set might be kind of devalued mostly or unplayable. So this, though, that's not how it's going to work. They come packaged that way, but then it's fully customizable. So you could have like a sealed event where we each buy a deck and just play the deck as it sits, but then also you can do whatever you want with the cards. And there's a lot of implications on the tech front that stem out from that they were teasing and not really getting into. But yeah, this is, if I had to describe this game in a paragraph, well, I was going to say sentence. I can't do it in a sentence. It is dark fantasy, asymmetric, expandable card game, packages unique decks, but fully customizable. And from my demo, like tons of people were asking me what I thought about this. And it reminded me of 2016 when we demoed Destiny. So what we used to do at GenCon, a little way back story time, is on Thursday morning, we would get to the hall at like 3 a.m. and get in the press line. And so we already approved, we knew we had a press badge, but the first 100 people in the press to get their press badge will get an early entry ticket. So we get there like 3 a.m. with all our gear. We'd sit in the hall on the floor in line until I think 8 a.m. when it opened. And then, your face. And then at 8 a.m. it would open and they would start processing the front of the line. And then you hope the whole time that you're in the first 100. And then, we would be because we were crazy enough to get there at 3 a.m. or whatever time. And so you get your badge and then you go and you wait in line outside the hall on a little side door. And usually this is like 8:30 when this is happening. And then at 9 o'clock, they let this line in. So it's 100 press, and then it's also like, I think they do VIPs or something, a certain number of VIPs can get in. And we would normally, in that time, go to whatever game we thought was most exciting. So in 2016, the Star Wars Destiny. We go straight to the FFG booth, we sit down in a demo, and it's like, hey, can we film a demo of this game right now? And so we would film a game in the middle of the hall, and it's not as crowded as it would get because there's only a couple hundred people in the space. But we'd film it, and you can go find this right now, the Star Wars Destiny demo on our channel. And so we're filming the game. We're trying to get it in like 20 minutes so we can get out of the way. And then as soon as we're done filming, we beeline back to our hotel so that Jonathan can dump the footage or get it dumping. And actually, not even our hotel, we would beeline back to the press room where we had our laptops and stuff. And he would start dumping the footage, and then he and Steven would go back into the hall and start filming whatever the next thing we wanted to film was. Then he would come back and dump footage, and assuming the Destiny footage was dumped at that time, then he would, for the next several hours, edit it on the spot. And then when it was done editing, we would often tether on like my phone or whatever to upload this video to YouTube. And I'm pretty sure that on the Destiny day, that Destiny thing got up that day. And then Arkham Horror LCG demo, which they went back and filmed and then came back, was up the same day or the next day as well. But the reason I tell you that whole story, beyond it being fun to reminisce, is after getting the Destiny demo, then for the rest of the event, everyone I ran into that knew me was like, hey, because they knew we'd played, and we posted on social media about it, and then we posted the video. What do you think of Destiny? What's your opinion? So in that set of circumstances, it's really hard to have a strong opinion on a game because it's just a demo. It was just Starter Decks. I didn't sleep very much last night. We've been going crazy. I'm also on camera when I'm experiencing this, so you can't even like really fully, experience it, etc. Yeah. So with Echo, the circumstances were not quite as intense because I got a demo. We weren't on camera. I'd slept a full night the night before, etc. But I still only played the one demo. I brought the decks, so we're planning on playing some more. And my general sense is that this game is 80-85% done. And I think they know that. They've said similar. And similarly, we played a couple iterations of Earthborn Rangers along the way, including one. And Hub World was the same thing. We played Hub World last October, 2 or 3 months before they printed the preview decks, and even that has changed dramatically since that point. But it reminds me of the state of a game when it's got sparks here of something really interesting and unique and fascinating, but it's not. They haven't quite locked it in yet. So I don't know what the answer is going to end up being. I assume there will be a couple things in this demo that don't exist by the time the game comes out, and they will find a way to streamline it and cut and like make it fit in appropriately. But the tactics bar mechanic and the locations coming out and the kind of conquesty, almost Netrunner vibes, that's enough to pique my interest. So we'll play this. I'll be curious to see where the game gets. But if you do see it, or you do play it, or you do watch us play it, I think it's just good to know you're kind of seeing something unique. I had never seen Christian do this with any of the games any of his companies are making. Usually it's very buttoned up and like big GenCon drop. Here it is. It's the final product. And so this is certainly a work in progress. So it's cool to see him adapting the approach based on, he's in a very different spot now than he's ever been. Kind of restarting a smaller company in a new space and all that kind of business. But intriguing enough to check out. So if you played it or checked, you were able to see it at GenCon, I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are. That's definitely one that we will have our eyes on moving forward.
The learning curve of that tactics bar and selecting which of those options is the right one to use. Like, I can't imagine how advanced deck building is gonna get for a game like that once it's finalized.
Yeah, I mean, when you see all the icons and you first sit down, it feels more complicated than it is. Because, eventually you learn your main character, which has the most icons. It's like, well, I can draw 2 and gain a resource, or gain a resource and draw 2, or I can move my thing and draw and gain a resource. It's like you essentially have 4 things that you can do. And most of the stuff is fundamental game stuff. Gain resources, draw cards, play stuff, move, etc.
Right. So like the value of each of those actions is going to change as the game progresses.
Yeah,
like,
and that's the value of the pairings and the triplicates of it is, it's like I said, I played a lot of card games, and I have not seen a card game do something quite like that.
It's really interesting.
And it makes it feel like there's another game. If there was a triangle of games I could put it between, it makes perfect sense knowing that it's one of Christian's companies doing this. It's between Netrunner, Conquest, and Game of Thrones LCGs. Because it does have some technically in the demo, you win when you get to 15. I think it's called Stronghold. Which Thrones, you win when you get to 15 power. So it's not about killing your opponent necessarily, which is a very Thrones vibe. You still can kill things, but Thrones was not about killing things; it was about getting power. And so, yeah, it's got I could see it being kind of a forward progression of the 2010s era FFG LCGs, which is one of my favorite eras of card games. And they were doing things with their card games that, it's not a classic creature battler where you play a dude and attack and the magic system. So speaking of creature battlers, I'm gonna go to the next thing. This is Siege of Forgotten. Alpha Clash's PvE box. It's not open because this is an actual thing. I'm not gonna open it. But they made this available early, a limited number of them at their booth at GenCon. And along with it was a Clash kit and a miniature of Krung, a little mini. And the reception of this was exceptionally good. People in the Discord are talking very positively about it. This is we played a earlier prototype of this on stream a couple months ago when Ridge and Garrett were here. So we will be diving into this next week on stream. I think we're going to play against this on stream. So if you're curious about this, then join us next week. But Alpha Clash, definitely a creature battler, as it were. Do you have something on that? You were making a...
It just looks really, really cool. I enjoyed the preview that we did, and I can't wait to see what the final looks like.
The box inside reminds me of Dragonlord, where it's got the flap and it opens up and it's got the stuff in it. But this actually this is the real thing. This is the real final product. So excited to check that out. Of course, I can't end Gen Con conversations without talking about Warlord, which they had a big play area. They were doing drafts of the new set, for the first time, and I have a little inside baseball on this one. They had some early boxes made and sent over for GenCon so they could do these drafts, and there were some collation issues. So this was actually how it was packaged by the time people were drafting, because they opened a bunch of packs and hand collated the new cards.
Oh, wow.
And there was a lot of sleep not being had by certain people on their team. So kudos to them for making it happen. But it was really cool seeing the new cards. Like, I got this Huggins is my first foil. And it's got like a cold, it's hard to, foiling's so hard to get right on camera, but it's got like a cold foil vibe around the outside, but not on the art, which is nice, actually. Like the stats and the border and whatnot have a nice foiling. And this is the only one I've seen. So I know there's extended art foils, and I know that there's different foiling types. So I'll be curious how that ends up looking. But the energy and the excitement at the Warlord booth, and they had promos that they were giving out when you did the demo and whatnot, was very high. People were very excited. I taught a couple people how to play with some of these. These are the like print and play decks, but they actually had them printed for real at the factory. And we might be having some of these made available on our website in the near future if you're curious to check out Warlord. But played it. Man, this game is so fun. I was hanging out with my friend Michael Hamilton on Sunday, and we tried a few games, and there's a few worth mentioning. So first was Warlord. He had never played it, and jumped into it really quick. Was just having fun. It was really nice. That was the last thing I did at GenCon, was play Warlord with him, and it was a nice end cap to the week where I was pretty tired, and I didn't want something super heavy, so just hanging out with a friend playing Warlord. Very good, and it's starting to feel more real that this game's actually going to come out.
Yeah.
And it's not just an old game with a big back catalog of stuff. So that was nice. Another thing I did on Sunday was stop by the Ghost Galaxy booth, and they are bringing back a board game called Lord of the Rings Confrontation, which I had never played. And so I went, and it's funny. I went and was saying hi to them and going to see if I could get a demo. And they actually let me get a demo. Me and Hamilton were demoing it on their deluxe board. Have you seen this thing?
No.
Are you a Lord of the Rings guy?
I am a Lord of the Rings guy, but I have been very out of the loop.
I'm going to say something. And when I say it, I just need you to understand the context of what I'm saying. This is the craziest thing a company associated with Christian Peterson has ever done. To tell you how crazy, this is, I think, a $2,700 board / table.
Wow.
And it's crazy because I learned how to play the game, and the game takes like 20 minutes. It's a fast game. I had so much fun. I love this game. I'm going to buy this game. Am I going to buy the $2,700 board? Probably not, but maybe, because it's so crazy. So it's like a square, and you just have to look it up. Like Lord of the Rings Confrontation, Game Found. Look at this board. It is a 3-dimensional, fully painted, just Lord of the Rings, Middle-earth, insane. It's a map, but it's like a 3-dimensional map, and there's all these little Easter eggs on it, like Tom Bombadil's house is in there, and Rivendell, and Lothlorien, and Mount Doom, of course, and the Shire. It is splendid, and I can't believe it's being created, right? Like, it's a sort of thing. It's so over the top, and it's crazy. It's just crazy. You got to check it out. You just got to see it. But learning the game on it was even crazier, and it was really fun. It was just a fun game. So that was a Sunday, again, afternoon. I'm killing time before I go to the airport, and I did that. I did Warlord. I also did I stopped by. They weren't doing a full demo, but there's a Brotherwise Games is doing the Cosmere RPG, which was designed by Andrew Fisher, who works for Earthborn Games, which is part of why I was over there. And I've also read Stormlight Archive and whatnot. But they have a trick-taking game that is like all the shards of, what's the name of anyways, all the shards. Odium, why is that the only one I can remember? Honor, etc. But it's like this beautiful, almost stained glass looking art, trick-taking style game, card-based game that I'm very keen to get and play. The guy was describing it to me that you couldn't buy it, you couldn't demo it, at least in that area. So I checked that out. But looping back around, tried Warlord. Oh, and last thing, I do want to mention one more thing, and then I'll take any questions and I'll get out of here because I don't know if you can tell my voice, but it's on its last leg here. Saturday night, a community member named Drake put together a Gudnak tournament / gathering. And it was really cool. It was like 16 to 18 of us hanging out playing Gudnak. Tim and Ian were there having a good time. And I ran into a lot of old Star Wars LCG buddies like Tom Malucci, 2015 world champion. I'll never forget that one. There's a lot tied into that I won't go into. But Davey was there. Josh was there. It was just really cool. Also ran a good old buddy. While I was doing that, old friend of mine, Spencer from Monpog back in like 2008, 9, 10, stopped by and I got to see him and that was really cool. But that's what I mean by Gen Con. It's just like, it's just this event that so many people are going to be at and you just don't know who you're going to run into. Which if you're an introvert is terrifying. And if you're an extrovert is like the greatest thing on earth. But yeah, it was a great event. It was cool. I also mentioned this too. I don't have a physical thing, so I almost forgot to mention it. I stopped by the Ashes booth on Thursday to see the big deluxe storage box come with the campaign, and I never met Bistro in person, their marketing director. And that box is, talk about insane. It's like 3 bulk boxes, but long. It's one of the craziest boxes. I wonder if it would fit in a Calyx shelf. I bet it's like shaped to be that size, like a whole square,
like a whole little Calyx.
Yeah, because 10 years of Ashes. Ashes released 10 years ago at Gen Con.
Yeah.
So 10 years of Ashes coming in that thing. Their late pledge are still open. We posted a gameplay last week using the new starter decks, even though a lot of those cards have changed. And it's just really cool talking to Colby and Bistro. It's clear how much that campaign being that successful is doing for them and means to them and allows them to do. And they were talking about the future of Ashes and what they had planned and what else they were working on. And like, I have not seen Colby that energized and that excited in a long time. It's really cool to see that and just to realize like, if you backed it and you bought from them and you're supporting what they're doing, it means the world. I mean, you can see it when you're interacting with them. So anyways, that was great to see them. They were cruising. People were coming by. Apparently a lot of new people who had never played Ashes getting into this campaign, which I think is part of the goal with that starter, of course, that has solo co-op and head-to-head in the same box. Yeah, Milkbread saying Ashes looked so sick. Yeah, it did. CJ Gonzalez saying we had a blast in the PvE mode. Players bringing their decks and learning how to face Krung. Krung is nuts. I'm curious. I think we'll get smashed when we play against him on stream. Just being honest. CJ saying, hope you're doing well. Hello from the Alpha Clash community. What's up? It's funny. Chronocore saying, I've seen the terrible old ones that were entirely foil. So talking about Warlord, there were some old cards that are just like flat across the board. The whole thing's foil, and you just can't see anything. If there's any amount of light, you're just like, it looks like a blank card almost. We did it.
All right. Yeah.
Man, I feel like the stream started and I just kept talking. Let me think. Hold on. Let me look at my notes. Let me make sure nothing's missing. Dragonlord, Crossroads, did it. Yeah.
Just one more time. You want to show that playmat that fell off the chair?
Yeah. I did it. I covered all the notes on my list. It was a great time. I know on that short we posted, it sounded like I was going to suffer. But I definitely am an introvert, right? And so my energy level right now out of 10 is probably a 3. Still trying to recover from Gen Con. Haven't quite had that opportunity yet. So this weekend will be important for me to have. And luckily, I have every day completely full of things that I have to be doing. This is the Thrive. Slash is working on this. He's dealing with... Let me tell you. I'm going to go on a soapbox real quick. And thank you again for this, Sasha. You're the best. Making games is exceptionally hard. Being a publisher is insanely difficult. Even when we're talking about explicitly card games, board games is a whole different level and ball of wax as the components. It is so hard just to get across the finish line. I've been talking to Sasha for 3 years about Thrive. And he is a very diligent, put together, hardworking person. And still, it is like excruciating to get across the finish line of not just design, not just development, not just art, not just graphic design, not rules, not the whole thing, even just making the good, right? Making the good. You even with Earthborn recently, who had a wildly successful second campaign, crazy success, and the resources to do it, and still, even at that scale and that success level, it's a massive struggle, right? And we see Sorcery. They've had we're out of beta, then we have a bunch of beta, then you have the Dragonlord and the print runs and all the stuff. Like printing it, difficult period. Also, then getting that to all the right places. It is so difficult. And these people, like, I engage with most of our publishing partners this week. They're just working so hard, honestly, all the time. And if you didn't listen to I've been doing podcasts with them. So I did Tim from Gudnak, and then Ridge and Garrett from Alpha Clash, and Andrew with Earthborn over the past several months. If you haven't engaged with those, I highly recommend it, because it is truly exceptional, the weight and pain and suffering they're going through. And that's why when I say things like games that just bleed out, it almost has to be that level for it to actually happen. It is so incredibly difficult. And there are challenges all along the way. And, certain publishers hit a certain amount of success or catch breaks or whatever, but it is not easy. So seeing them in action, you go into the Ashes booth, go into the Alpha Clash booth, go into the Dragonlord booth, seeing the tournaments being run, talking to Josh and Woodrow about hand collating the packs so the drafts can happen. All of it. It's just absolutely amazing. So if you're one of our partners, thank you for working with us and for putting all that work in. Exceptionally grateful and humbled to witness that level of commitment and action, and just so grateful to have the chance to work with you. Honestly, it is cool to see. And then you go, GenCon is like the industry at large, and you just see a lot of. It's crazy how much time and effort and work goes into all this. And we're in a very focused little indie card game pocket of the universe, but I definitely feel like I left feeling differently and with a different perspective on life than I expected. I was like, it's a Gen Con again. I'll see people that and there are people I wanted to see, and there are things I was excited about. But I was on that plane ride home on Sunday, and if I had to say one word I was feeling was just gratitude, right? It was really cool. I was exhausted. I still am exhausted, but yeah, gratitude for our partners. And honestly, I had a ton of people coming up to me while I was there to express gratitude to us for one thing or another, right? Whether it was content or availability of product at MSRP, or you go on down the list, podcast, shipping, customer service, etc. And that's also just like very invigorating or very rekindling of certain flames. Because you don't always get to, with our local space being closed for so long, you don't have the face-to-face as much as you previously did, where you're just seeing it in person all the time. So anyways, if you're out there watching, if you're liking, if you're sharing, if you're commenting, if you're on Discord, if you're buying stuff from us, it means the world. Couldn't do any of this without all of you. And our publishers couldn't either, right? I mean, I think that's seeing how much everything matters to these people at their scale. It just puts a different level of value and importance on the interactions and the what it means to be a player or buy certain games. So anywho, I'm just grateful. And of course, also extremely grateful for the team. I was away having dinners and drinks and conversations and at Gen Con and getting to try demos and do all this stuff. And the team's just back at home slaying. Just absolutely murdering it across the board. So that's really cool to be able to do. I think that's part of the gratitude, is just understanding. I left and everything kept going in like an exceptional way. So very, very grateful to all of you, honestly, for everything. Last few chats. Chronocore, I say, and speak on it, brother. Yeah, it's hard. Also, I was going to try to come by and check out what you had going on. I'd already played Chronocore, so I don't want to take up space someone else could be taking. But it seemed like you guys were cruising the whole time. Every time I kind of went by where I'd see what was going on, it was busy. So that's awesome for you guys. Derek saying Buddy was part of assisting the hand collating the packs. Apparently, there is an amount of pack opening that stops being fun. Who knew? I'll tell you, we used to do saga sets for Star Wars Destiny. Basically, you could buy play sets, essentially. And we opened all that product by hand. A lot of times we would get that product late. And so it'd be like, well, we have to open it, sort it, organize it, pack it, and ship it in like 3 days. There's definitely an amount of pack opening that is not fun anymore. Steel's Lime saying, yeah, I saw you online for the Crossroads event and just quickly said hello and good luck. Really wanted to babble about appreciation for all you guys do. Yeah, I always really appreciate when people come up and say something, because I feel like I would be hesitant to do the same. I just don't want to bother, people. But it's strange. I know it's true, because like it's strange when someone does come and say something. It means a lot. It means so much to engage and hear from people and how to. It was one of the funniest ones. Was I was sitting and I was on the phone, but this is a crazy story. I met 3 Pete or Peters in a row who stopped by. It was literally, it's like, oh, what's your name? It's like, oh, I'm Pete. Okay, cool. The next person was coming up to say, love the podcast or whatever. And then they were like, oh, I'm Peter. I was like, that's funny. It was just Pete. So and then the third one came out. I was like, I felt like I was being punked by it. Like, actually, it's like, are people going to keep just coming up and saying they're Peter until I say something? So, anywho. Any other comments worth popping, John, before I close her down?
Steel Slime basically is just saying similar, wanting to come up and didn't want to bother you, but wanted to appreciate it.
Well, you guys are the best. I appreciate it all. We appreciate it. Whole team's grateful. We don't get to do this if you don't support us, and our partners don't either. So appreciate you, and we'll be back next week. We're going to do an Alpha Clash, diving into PvE, having some spoilers from Set 6, and I'm sure that time Steven will be back in action, and who knows, might be bringing up some GenCon conversations. Don't exactly know what that's going to look like, but grateful to be here, and we'll see you next time.